What's the good word, y'all? DKB here. And in the middle of this bye week, we got some unexpected praise, but it was awesome to hear from Darrelle Revis in regards to our exciting young cornerback, Sauce Gardner. And I say unexpected because Darrelle Revis has not been known to be one of these cornerbacks that pay heavy attention to the game still, is offering a lot of analysis and reviews and things like that. But he still has that New York Jet connection, but it still feels almost as if he's going out of his way because he still lives a very quiet lifestyle away from football now. And so it was exciting to hear. So in his words and some of his quotes that we're giving anyways, he mentions that he thinks Sauce has the word playmaker written all over him. He thinks he has the potential to carry the torch to be a great cornerback for the Jets. And that's due to not only his physical gifts, but it seems like he's a student of the game. And he's ready to take on any challenge that comes his way, playing at a high level. And the performance on the field so far has been completely proven by Sauce Gardner. He was every bit of worth the fourth overall pick as anybody that we could have grabbed. And so it's interesting because them playing the same position and Revis being undoubtedly one of the greatest individual football players in the New York Jets history so far, Sauce Gardner is going to be related to him. Best cornerback that we've had in this short sample size since Revis, and potentially could end up ultimately being even better than him. So there's going to be some natural comparisons that take place. And, one of the core questions being, is Sauce Gardner already a better rookie than what Darrelle Revis was when he came in? And it's very hard. A lot of people want to compare Sauce to Darrelle Revis. In my opinion, that's not going to work. The closest player in this day and age that you could probably get to a Darrelle Revis would be like a Patrick Surtain. Maybe Patrick Surtain would probably be my choice, to be honest, just the way that they try to play him. But keep in mind, it's two very different play styles and what Rex was willing to do. So when Rex Ryan had Darrelle Revis, he had no problem essentially telling Darrelle Revis to go man-to-man coverage the entirety of the game, lock his guy down, and then we roll coverage, do blitzes, all the different things that Rex Ryan was able to do. There's not another coach in history really that you can find that was willing to go and put a player out on an island like that. So it was an extreme amount of trust by Rex Ryan, as well as on-field production from Darrelle Revis. Whereas with Sauce Gardner and Robert Saleh, he tends to want to play this zone coverage scheme. He does end up trying to man up his cornerbacks on third downs and key plays. Think if there's longer distances, second and 15 pluses, then he's willing to take a couple extra shots there. But primarily, this is going to be a zone coverage ran defense. And so you think more of the Richard Shermans and maybe Champ Bailey's and cornerbacks kind of that's in that realm that can do both, but definitely will still excel in off-ball coverage. So it's very hard to draw a complete comparison between the two of them, but still, if we just want to go based off stats, you ultimately have to perform the way the coaches are expecting you to. When we look back at Revis's rookie season, he played the full slate, 16 games. He ended up finishing with 3 interceptions, 17 pass deflections. He had 18 tackles. Over the course of his rookie season, he was actually targeted 95 times, 59 receptions allowed. Quarterbacks had a rating of 87.5, which was the highest mark in his career prior to when things started falling off the rail for him in, I think, the 2011 season. But regardless, it was still a very dominant in portions rookie season for Darrelle Revis. And, keeping in mind who he was seeing in coverage at that point in time, Wes Welker, Randy Moss to a certain degree, Derek Mason when he was at his height of his career, Marty Booker, Lee Evans, Plaxico Burress, Kevin Curtis, Chad Johnson for a while. I love the little reel that I keep seeing on YouTube at some point where Ocho Cinco's asking when Darrelle Revis has locked him up, and then you go and see him kind of, drive him into the dirt and even snag an interception at one point. Santana Moss, Antonio Holmes, Terrell Owens, Braylon Edwards, Justin Gage, all these guys, he ultimately only ended up allowing 3 touchdowns over the course of that season. And, in comparison so far, Sauce Gardner is potentially, however you want to look at the film and break down some of the miscues, maybe allowed 2, but those are very arguable considerations where LaMarcus Joyner was kind of running due to emotion. And so there was some confusion there, but still, it looks very promising for him. In comparison, we haven't finished Sauce Gardner's full slate of games, but looking at the midway point, 9 games in, he's played the full amount of games, 2 interceptions, 13 pass deflections, which I believe is actually a record, at least on the New York Jets history side of things, for the most pass deflections through 8 or 9 games in a season. 44 tackles. He's been targeted 51 times. He's allowed 27 completions, and quarterbacks have a 54.9 rating when they target him. So it looks very, very good. I mean, if we want to project things, at least based off what ESPN is providing, Sauce will finish with about 83 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 25 pass deflections. That's absolutely crazy. The last time we seen somebody with this much promise and injuries derailed his career was D. Milliner. You can definitely tell the play definitely looks much, much different. So some of the receivers that, Sauce Gardner has had to play, and keep in mind, this again is one of those primary differences. We've allowed him to go around and follow people to a certain point and do different matchup coverages, which isn't far away from Darrelle Revis, but again, we're doing a lot of zone stuff. So the offense can manipulate us just as much as we can try to change some things around on our side, playing zone coverage. But Devin Duvernay, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Jalen Waddle, Alan Lazard, KJ Hamler, Kendrick Bourne. We just seen the Gabriel Davis and Stephon Diggs matchups at certain points throughout the game. So Sauce Gardner is definitely being initiated in trial by fire with a lot of these elite high-level 2s and high-level 1 wide receiver matchups across the NFL board. And, we're halfway through. There's still a lot of excitement that's going to come back around. We're going to see, hopefully, Tua quarterbacking with Tyreek Hill and Jada Wallen once again. We'll see if there's a huge stark difference in performance. We'll see Stephon Diggs again along with Gabriel Davis. Patriots don't have the same quality of wide receivers and quarterback play as what they did before. But still, you can't count them out at any point. So there's a lot of good stuff, let alone, off the top of my head, we still got the Bears coming up. They went and took Claypool. So there's a lot of athletic elite guys that are coming out. But I would probably say when we're just matching up rookie season to rookie season based on what they were asked to do, it looks like Sauce Gardner is definitely going to have the edge. And hopefully this parlays itself into a career with the same, same rate of improvement and dominance that we've seen with Darrelle Revis. I mean, the 2009 season definitely goes down in absolute history in terms of what he did. I think he finished that season with like a 29.1 quarterback rating allowed, which is absolutely nuts. When you take a look at the receiver list that he faced down, in I think 45 yards is the most I want to say anybody put up on him in that season. But it looks very, very well. I mean, I would love for Robert Saleh to take a page out of Rex Ryan's book, even if it was only just for one season, and let him go out and absolutely lock people up in man coverage, which you would probably say is actually his forte. So it's even more impressive that he's doing all of this in zone coverages and using this, different techniques, his presses when he is playing man coverage, his bell presses, covering the third quarters. It's a lot. He's definitely asked to do a lot more variations than what Darrelle Revis was ever done. So if nothing else, you can definitely say that he has more tools in his tool belt than maybe what Darrelle Revis ever had. He wasn't asked to do the same kind of things, but you can't ask for much better. His build is essentially, and they put this in the article that I looked up too, he's essentially in Cromartie's body, playing the way Darrelle Revis has, and many other cornerbacks that have done well in zone and man coverage technique. So he's still, Sauce Gardner is still pretty humble about it. A lot of things that he still wants to work out in terms of his game, but I think we are definitely seeing the passing of the torch here. It took us a little bit to find. Darrelle Revis is now giving his farewell send-offs, and we are seeing Sauce Gardner take his place. One of the last things that I could really hope for is that we see that across the board. I would love to find our next center and tackle of this next decade. Garrett Wilson is definitely looking like the next rendition of like wide receivers have been hard for us, but I guess Antonio Holmes or Brandon Marshall, I guess, as one of the next best wide receivers on our roster that at least will stay for a long time moving forward. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Where do you fall in this Darrelle Revis versus Sauce Gardner matchup? Who do you give the edge to, granted all the things that we talked about, and where you feel like Sauce Gardner will ultimately end up in New York Jets history? I think he'll reset the record books in pretty much every aspect you can look for in terms of a cornerback, assuming he stays with us for the entirety of his career. And I guess I'll leave it there. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and I'll catch you again. Peace.